Story 1. I don't really go anywhere to meet anyone. I spend most of my time inside watching television or playing video games. I would like to meet someone and form a relationship one day, but I don't have any reason at the moment to go outside and interact with others. Story 2. I want to meet someone who shares my interests. I don't doubt I could find someone, but I want to find a person with interests similar to mine, which are typical of the average online guy. It's a high standard, but it's what I desire. Dating and being with someone who doesn't have the same interests as me never works. Story 3. I feel it's worth putting myself out there and getting out of the house. After multiple attempts and experiencing really bad luck, the effort just isn't worth it for me at this point. Why bother? Story 4. Rejection. Getting a woman to meet is a very hard thing to do. Women have higher standards due to dating apps. Story 5. Being scared of rejection and ruining our relationship. Not leaving the house doesn't help either. Story 6. I believe the main issue is dating applications. Most people do not want to meet new individuals when they go out. Men approaching women in public are often viewed as intrusive. They would rather use dating applications, but with such a large pool of individuals, there are always other options available. This makes it easy to move from one person to another, but it becomes challenging to develop a meaningful connection. Story 7. Approaching them with a clear intention, such as giving compliments and expressing my interest. Story 8. I just moved and don't have any friends. I don't work with anyone my age, 52. And online dating has been a challenging experience. Story 9. I have lost 100 pounds, but I still feel overweight. I have gone from 360 to 260, and I am trying to lose 40 more. I am 6 feet 2 inches tall, so my weight goal is reasonable. I just need to find someone who understands my lifestyle and fitness changes. Story 10. I struggle with holding conversations, even small talk. I often fall into the habit of not replying for a few days because I am unsure of what to discuss. Story 11. I don't meet any criteria for being noticeable in the chaos of online dating, and I don't have a social circle or social life in real life. It's all dead ends. I can't even make friends. Story 12. Everything I like is a gathering primarily of men, so I would need to act like someone I'm not in order to be in spaces with many single women. Story 13. Not single anymore, but if I were, the main obstacle would be the constant thought that by expressing romantic or sexual interest, I would be a nuisance, making the day of the person I'm interested in worse. I do not want to be that person. Additionally, I do not understand flirting. I may be a little different in social interactions. Story 14. I have been told that I am too nice, which frustrates me. I am kind, compassionate, thoughtful, intelligent, and personable. I have attended therapy to work on being assertive and have made significant progress in that area. If you do not appreciate me for who I am, then I do not care to engage with you. It angers me to hear this from others. Story 15. We make plans to go out at night. I wait until 2, then I turn off the light. This rejection has me feeling so low. If she continues, I may just tell her. Story 16. Where can I find single women without children? Where should I go? Most options seem to be online, but I don't use most social media and have a strong dislike for dating applications. Story 17. All my friends are married, and I don't have any single friends in my friend groups. I live in a small town mostly filled with university students, and they seem quite immature. I know I should try to make new friends or join other friend groups, but I'm not very social, and there aren't many interested people around. I've experienced so many rejections that I don't feel it's worth the effort. I saw a nice girl at the bar with her friend, but I didn't really want to approach her since she didn't seem to be looking around much or making eye contact. Online dating feels like searching through trash for a diamond. Story 18. When I was young, I couldn't get a girlfriend. The only reason was that they didn't want me as a boyfriend. I say that jokingly, but it's partly true. I wasn't aware of what the problem was. They were all friend-zoning me. Story 19. I think it's just about not being in the right environment. When I was in college, there were women everywhere. I am also quite selective. There is a girl who likes me, but I do not find her attractive due to her weight. I know I sound harsh, but I prioritize my fitness. Story 20. I'm just one person. I'm supposed to work, advance my career, go to the gym, eat healthily, manage my health, keep things clean, be fun, be engaging, have hobbies, have a social life, avoid addictions, overcome baggage, be confident, learn skills, have options, cultivate abundance, plan dates, pay for dates, not be needy, not be too distant, and not be bitter with precisely zero help. Just end it now. It might be worth it if all that leads you to an exceptional partner. But realistically, it just gives you a low probability chance with a regular person. And you have to repeat that again and again. At 19, I wanted to nurture and love a partner. At 30, I want to nurture and love myself. Story 21. Girls can be too subtle or may not initiate enough. I also lack social skills, so I prefer to be relaxed. Story 22. The effort and low success rate are just not worth it. On top of that, it feels like a job to constantly text, give attention to, and plan dates. I hope someday to find a girl who is totally independent and enjoys doing things together, rather than one focused solely on getting married, planning a bachelorette party, and keeping up with others while not equally committing or respecting what it takes to provide that kind of lifestyle. Many of us are jaded. Many of us are realistic as well. I know I'm not ideally what a woman wants, so why would I deserve a beautiful woman? Therefore, investing in a 5 or 6 is just not that appealing. Who can relate? I don't think it's about not being able to get a girlfriend, but rather all that is involved in keeping one and the caliber of girlfriend one can get, keep happy, and not be used. Story 23. Being short, poor, and unattractive are probably the main issues. I also have a generally disagreeable personality. I think that's it. Story 24. My life is quite busy. I am working, studying, and planning to start a specialization next year that lasts 2.5 years, along with a master's degree this year. I know I am pushing it a bit, but I feel the need to do it while I am still young. At least that is how I see it. Apart from work and academic duties, which already take up a lot of my time, my life revolves around doing calisthenics at home, going to a kickboxing gym, and playing guitar. There isn't much time left for anything else, aside from the basics, like buying groceries and taking care of essential tasks. I believe that having a girlfriend would require me to dedicate quality time to going out on dates, maybe traveling, and attending events together. Right now, I simply don't have the time to be fully committed to a relationship. Moreover, as I progress in life, my standards increase. I do not want someone who is solely interested in material gain or someone who prefers to do nothing all day. It may sound harsh, but I have witnessed such situations among people older than me, and honestly, it's just not for me. I think it would need to be someone who shares my professional path and interests. But as I mentioned, that is for the future. Perhaps when the right person comes along, I will be happy to make space for that chapter. But for now, no thank you. Story 25. I have custody of my 2 children and struggle with low self-esteem. The women I have tried talking to, or those my friends introduced me to, lost interest after learning I have 2 7-year-olds. I understand that at 27, it might seem young to be dealing with 2 kids if they aren't yours for the long term. I could pursue short-term relationships and have been asked to be friends with benefits before, but I prefer not to engage in either of those. Additionally, I really do not want to experience infidelity again. Story 26. I have my own issues to figure out first. To attract the kind of girl I want, I need to work on my mindset. Story 27. I do not feel like I have the energy outside of work to pursue and maintain a romantic relationship. Story 28. Leaving my house without a job is challenging. Being autistic and living with my parents at 30 years old does not create ideal conditions for finding a girlfriend. Story 29. I have promised someone that I will wait for her, and I am focused on my career. I am also an introvert. Story 30. Limited deal flow. I estimate that I could find a soulmate once every 100,000 new unique women, and someone worth dating long-term who feels the same way about me every 10,000 new unique women. I only meet about 3 to 5 new unique women per day. Story 31. Meeting people. If I am in a conversation with a girl, I have a good chance of making a new friend or getting a date, but I have not spoken to anyone new in years. I have my small group of friends, mostly women, so I am not really in need of more female friends. I just need a girlfriend to share the nice things with that my current friends appreciate. Story 32. I don't think I like them enough to be consistent in trying to keep one around. I get annoyed by everything, and I don't want to sleep next to someone who snores. Story 33. What if I told you that having money, while good, can also be a bigger issue? There are individuals who just want someone to buy them anything and everything in return for being with you. When they find out that you do, in fact, have money, can you really be sure they are with you for who you are and not for the money? Also, confidence matters. Just as men often like a woman who knows exactly what she wants and is independent, women desire the same qualities in a man, not someone who is constantly asking for permission or doesn't know what they want. I need to take my own advice. Story 34. I'm shy, and it seems like everyone around me is already in a relationship except for those in high school. I want to know who someone is before asking them out for coffee or something casual. However, either I never see them again after that first encounter, or they are already in a relationship and I don't want to be pushy. Every time I have a good conversation with a woman, she is in a committed relationship, which is fine, but it makes it harder for me to connect with other women. I feel like I don't really know what I'm doing, even though I'm 36. Some people are assertive, while others, like me, never figured out dating or even how to get a date. Story 35. I tend not to talk to people I don't know well. Every time I've tried, it backfires. I struggled with obesity for years, but I now go to the gym 5 days a week and I'm gradually improving myself. I started this journey 8 months ago and have increased my visits from 3 to 5 days over that time. I tend to get too caught up in things when someone is nice to me. Now that I'm in my 30s, I feel more inclined to focus on myself rather than others. I also have some undesirable hobbies like gaming and figurine collecting. I don't own a car, and in Australia, owning one is seen as a rite of passage. I still live with my parents because homeownership is out of reach, and many people expect you to struggle paying half your weekly income as rent to be considered independent. It really is frustrating. Story 36. Time. There are just not enough hours in the day to work, manage my house, and keep my wife happy. There is no time left for a girlfriend. Story 37. There is nothing to do in my town. When there is, most of the women I see have dates. Online dating never works for me because I don't look like Ryan Reynolds. Story 38. I enjoy my peace. I have experienced 2 failed marriages and have 2 children with different mothers. Both relationships were quite tumultuous. One partner struggled with a gambling addiction and substance abuse, while the other sacrificed everything, including her own child, to advance her career. She even engaged in inappropriate relationships with colleagues and neglected her responsibilities as a parent. I would much rather have peace in my life. I no longer watch adult content or crave human touch. I feel exhausted from searching for love. My routine consists of working, coming home, and relaxing before repeating the cycle. Story 39. At the moment, I have to undergo dialysis for 10 to 12 hours each night, 6 nights a week. On my days off work, I feel extremely tired and just want to lie in bed, doom scrolling on my tablet while watching random videos on YouTube. Story 40. I guess I feel a massive sense of insecurity. I stopped actively seeking relationships after high school and never had a crush since then. I barely went out due to a lack of money and felt insecure about my appearance. I also had concerns about my size, which is ironic because now I sometimes wish for a different size. After losing weight and going out more, I still feel unsure about looking for a relationship at 29. I have experienced suicidal thoughts and made decisions in the past that I regret. I still struggle with insecurity. I have lost weight and now find myself looking more feminine. Sometimes I wonder if my insecurities led me to seek validation from others because I want to feel attractive. I think I like a guy, but my insecurities and desires often hold me back, leading me to seek attention from others. Story 41. There's an old saying, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And that's the problem. I can't find this girl called Beholder. The closest I can find is Bethany, and she said I'm poor and ugly. I'm not disputing that. Story 42. It is always a different challenge, to be honest, each of which I have overcome except the one I currently face. In high school, I was too anxious and unsure of myself to speak to or reciprocate the attention of girls who may have been interested in me. In college, I became too desperate for a partner, which made it impossible for me to establish a real connection with anyone who might have reciprocated my advances. Now, as a working adult, I have no options left on the table. Almost every woman I know and meet nowadays is already in a relationship, and dating apps have proven to be ineffective. Story 43. I am a curious person. I would make a great boyfriend, no doubt. I was surely this way in college, but there are many women I genuinely want to be with instead of staying with someone for years. Even though I was with someone I was very attracted to, the thought of those I missed out on also troubles me. Story 44. I was always considered pretty and received attention from others in college. However, I chose to remain single. I didn't realize it, but I had trauma from the time a 35-year-old person took advantage of me when I was 14. This experience scarred me, and I thought about it every day for the next 9 years. I didn't address it until I finally got a girlfriend who later became my fiancée. I was too scared of relationships. Story 45. There is a balance between communication skills and mental health. I lean towards improving my communication skills, as I believe I can make significant progress with practice. This gives me hope of moving beyond what feels like a form of limbo. I mention this because, despite my wishes, I am autistic, and based on the questionnaire my family and I filled out, there is a strong possibility that I have some level of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder as well. I bring it up because, despite my efforts to manage certain negative traits, I lost someone I considered a very good friend. This experience showed me that the impact is much greater than I realized. It makes me question myself frequently. If and when the diagnosis is official, who knows? I have seen medication work wonders for some of my friends with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, helping them to calm down, and I hope it will also improve my communication skills. Story 46. All the effort spent attending networking events, meeting colleagues, and trying to put yourself out there can feel overwhelming. It doubles when you also have to engage socially with your hobbies. However, I'm an introvert and don't want to go out that much. Why can't it be one or the other? Story 47. I am not into social media and prefer not to be thought of too much in general. I am also Muslim, so I do not like the idea of finding a wife through social media. I will get over it one day. My main problem is that I think it is silly to start a conversation about marriage right away. Story 48. In my experience, you can be unattractive and still find success if you possess two other qualities. First, get in shape. Second, have a sense of humor. Many unattractive yet fit and funny individuals do quite well in the dating world. Story 49. Having a crush is rare for me, and whenever I get close to succeeding, some random factor is introduced that I cannot control. Story 50. I have a personality type that often receives comments like, "I don't understand why people don't want to date you. You are the type that any woman would love to have." Story 51. I feel bored and rarely leave the house. I struggle with shyness, social anxiety, and low self-esteem. I'm currently unemployed and facing several other challenges. Story 52. Finding someone who is single can be challenging. I meet a girl who is taken. I meet another one who is taken. They always seem to be unavailable. I just have the worst luck. Story 53. Feeling unattractive and genuinely questioning when a girl seems interested is difficult. I often stop and think, why would she like me? I remind myself that she might just be being nice and I shouldn't misinterpret that as romantic interest. Jokes aside, this reflection has always proven true. They have all turned out to be kind people. As much as it hurts, I feel ashamed to ask them out since I lack experience. I'm just tired of the situation. Story 54. 10 single men, 1 available woman. That reflects every social group I have been in, and she has numerous other men in her social contacts trying to pursue her. There are many reasons why I may not be considered desirable, but in the 21st century, you are competing with the entire world. The evaluation period she puts you through never ends, leading to ongoing stress and uncertainty. Story 55. Social anxiety can be challenging. Even if there is a very attractive girl, I just can't force myself to talk to her. I feel a mental barrier that prevents me from conversing with girls in real life. However, I have no issues communicating with them online. Story 56. I mostly work and sleep. When I'm not working, I try to exercise and run errands. My errands mostly consist of grocery shopping, picking up household items, walking my dog, going to the dispensary, and practicing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. As a 28-year-old male who feels lacking in charisma, height, and looks, I take a while to warm up to people. I don't know how to meet people I'm interested in real life. Past experience has taught me not to pursue anyone in places I frequent because I feel awkward returning when interest isn't reciprocated. So, I've stopped trying since about this time last year, and that has been my biggest hurdle. It's been mentally easier for me regarding my social anxiety, but I'm getting pretty lonely because I don't know anyone in my state due to relocating a few years ago. It's all my fault, though, and is a work in progress. Story 57. I am 25 years old and work 11-hour days, 5 days a week. I have very little free time to date outside of weekends, which are often spent catching up on tasks I couldn't complete during the week, recovering from burnout, or fitting in personal activities. Most of my hobbies are solitary or introverted, which doesn't help. My main option for dating is online, but I find it difficult and have no interest in casual encounters. I prefer to build connections slowly in person over time, which is not feasible right now. I am also autistic, so first impressions can be awkward, and flirting is nearly impossible for me, making things even harder. I never have issues with friendship once people get to know me. I am usually the reliable one, the person everyone can count on, and often the comedian in the group. However, getting to that point with me takes time, and it feels like no one is willing to invest that anymore. Especially in dating, where people seem to expect instant chemistry or they move on. It is frustrating because as time has gone on, I have lost my entire social life to relationships, but I cannot seem to find one for myself. I recently joined a local online community to try meeting people and building friendships that way. If I can get some medical matters sorted, I hope to reduce my work hours to 4 days a week. I am really hoping these two changes will positively impact my situation. Story 58. I have never found a woman I am interested in. I have started questioning if I might be aromantic, but I do not want to jump to conclusions. Story 59. There are many options to choose from, but I think the biggest obstacle is laziness. Could I go out and try to meet people, start going to the gym, eat healthier, cut my hair, or shop for better clothes? Yes, I could do those things. Alternatively, I could play Expedition 33 and eat a large pizza at home while wearing a t-shirt with holes in it. So far, I have been consistent in my choices. Story 60. I am currently overweight. No matter how great I may be, I make a poor first impression. I have started exercising at the gym and eating healthy. It is time to make a change. Story 61. A place to meet new people. Most of my hobbies are individualistic, so the overall groups are small and have very few women in my age range. I sometimes go to a bar and attend social events, but I find it hard to talk to strangers there since I usually go out with a friend group, and most women I see are with their own friends. I feel awkward trying to join their conversations or approach them. Additionally, where I live, there are fewer than 50,000 residents, so the dating pool, events, and interest groups are limited for people my age. I also wasn't interested in dating when I was in high school. In summary, I have experienced a lack of interest in early life and a shortage of opportunities. Story 62. I take rejection too hard. I am working on it. The last time I asked a girl out, she never replied to my text. Every negative thought I have had about myself came racing back. It is evidence of everything I secretly believe about myself but am afraid to say out loud. It makes me want to lie in bed until the pain passes. Story 63. I'm not feeling fulfilled with my current situation, and I do not want to burden anyone else with my struggles. Story 64. Living in a remote location has given me the opportunity to take time to know myself. I'm slow to open up, and people often give up on that quickly. Story 65. They reject me. The last 5 people I asked out this year, mostly through dating apps, all said no or unmatched me. One person even stood me up. I'm an average-looking guy who goes to the gym and is in decent shape. I'm not overly social, but I've been going to bars with friends and playing in sports leagues. It's surprising how difficult it is to find single women, and even when I do, it's hard to secure a simple coffee date. Story 66. Right person, wrong time, usually. Otherwise, it's because I am in love with them, but they only want to be friends. Sometimes, I worry that I am too much of a nice guy, the one girls go to for support while complaining about their difficult boyfriends or partners. Story 67. Exposure. I am 6 feet 5 inches tall, good looking, make decent money, and have many other positive attributes. I just worked too much and didn't party in my youth. I only had nerdy friends, which means that now I don't have a group to go to clubs with on weekends. This lack of exposure is most likely the culprit. Additionally, I live in a very rural area, and dating apps do not work in cities with fewer than 50,000 people. Story 68. Not a guy, but offering encouragement if you'll take it. You are strong enough to go into the world. You are handsome enough. Put your best foot forward by going where people are. It's harder for introverts. I see many of you are introverts, so I can only suggest that you try going to places where people and activities align with your interests. For example, I went to game night at a kava bar because I wanted to play games. I left with my now boyfriend, who is a game collector. You are enough. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.